Welcome to our webinar, Sustainable Sourcing, Future-Proofing Your Fashion Brand, brought to you by Frontier.cool and Swisstex Direct. Today, we're going to take a look into the pivotal role of sustainable practices in the textile industry and how digital solutions are revolutionizing sourcing processes. You'll gain exclusive insights from our panel of speakers, including a special focus on Mario from Swisstex, who's going to share his journey and successes with Frontier and their innovative digitization services. Together, we're going to explore how embracing digitization can lead to significant cost savings, efficiency gains, and a more sustainable future for your fashion brand and the industry as a whole. So sit back, relax, grab a cup of coffee if you're in this side of the world with me, where it's just gone 4 a.m., as we unravel the fabric of a greener future in fashion. So before we start, I'd like to take a moment for everyone to introduce themselves, starting with James and then Mario. So please let our audience know a little bit about you, your background, before we move on with today's webinar. Thank you.
Sure. Thank you, Alexis, and thanks for joining us so early from that side of the globe.
No worries.
It's appreciated. So James Costa here, Vice President of Go-to-Market, Sales and Marketing at Frontier. I've got 25 years experience with design, development, production in the apparel industry. Joined Frontier back in January, and I'm really super excited to be here today and to discuss this with both Alexis and Mario. So it's going to be a great conversation. I'll pass it over to Mario now.
Hello, James. Hello, Alexis. Hello, everybody. My name is Mario G. I started my career in textiles as a fabric dyer and finisher in 1978 in Europe. In 1990, I moved to LA and continued working in fabric dyeing and finishing of circular knits. 9 years ago, I joined Swisstex Direct as Director of Quality Assurance. Swisstex now invested in a certified testing lab and is certified by international organizations such as Intertek and Bureau Veritas. My main task these days is testing performance fabrics, mostly for name brands in the United States, and R&D projects such as fiber shedding and product development. That's next.
Thanks, Mario. And I'm Alexis Liu, and I've been with Frontier 2.5 years, and I bring 20 odd, I'm not going to give it away, my age, 20 plus years of marketing and business development experience to the table. Okay, thanks everybody. So let's crack on. So as we dive into the heart of today's discussion, let's take a look at the numbers that really underline the urgent need for sustainable practices in the fashion industry. It's a $2.5 trillion industry that stands as the second highest user of water and the second highest polluter. With 85% of textiles ending up in landfills, more often than not ending up in the world's poorest countries, and a significant 80% of the labor force being women, the impact of our industry is quite profound. Each year, over 21 billion tons of textiles are produced, signaling a call for a change towards a more sustainable and responsible future in fashion production. So these numbers don't just tell us where we're at now, they really highlight the journey that we've got to take for this more sustainable future. Now, as we look at this figure, let's reflect on the changing tides in consumer behavior. So a massive 92% of today's consumer market expect sustainability to be a core brand value. So this isn't just a trend. It's a signal that brands really must align with environmental consciousness, or they're going to risk losing out, losing relevance. So for fashion brands, the message is crystal clear. Integrating sustainable practices is no longer optional. It's a critical driver of customer loyalty and market success. So this demand for sustainability is really reshaping how these brands are operating, pushing them towards more responsible sourcing and production methods to meet the expectations of an eco-aware consumer base. And as we observe the latest trends in sustainable fashion, we're seeing a significant shift towards eco-friendly materials and circular fashion, which prioritizes the reuse and recycling of garments. And the industry is also embracing transparency and traceability, allowing consumers to really understand the origin and impact of their clothing. Where was it made? What processes did it go through? How long did it take to get from A to B? That kind of thing. Digitization and technological innovation are also playing key roles in advancing sustainable practices, alongside a push for regenerative approaches that restore and renew environmental resources. And finally, sustainability certifications and labels are becoming really crucial for brands to communicate their dedication to nurturing and looking after the planet. So this movement resonates deeply with an expanding circle of consumers who really prioritize environmental responsibility, heralding a new era where green credentials become a linchpin of brand identity and consumer loyalty. So enter the innovative team at Frontier, the trailblazers leveraging AI and machine learning to redefine the fashion and textile industries. With a commitment to digitizing textiles, they're not just keeping pace with the future, they're creating it. Frontier's vision is really clear: to make the textile industry more sustainable, efficient, and ready for the challenges of tomorrow. Now I'd like to introduce you to Swisstex Direct. As a beacon in the textile industry, Swisstex has not only led the way in quality and innovation, but has also boldly stepped into the digital age to meet the dynamic demands of our industry. So Mario, could you please give us a bit of a background on Swisstex, how it started, what it stands for, and where the company is today, please?
Sure. Swisstex opened their doors 27 years ago in the Los Angeles area as a commission dyer. Consistent quality, quick turnaround, flexibility, and sustainable textile production are the reasons for the company's success. In 2002, Swisstex founded two more divisions. First one, Swisstex Direct, which is selling fabrics directly to factories producing garments for brand customers. And the second one, Swisstex El Salvador, which is a dye house for dyeing circular knits geared for the local market in Central America and NAFTA qualifying programs. Some production numbers for Swisstex Direct production: overall capacity in Swisstex California, 60 million pounds annually. Overall capacity, Swisstex El Salvador, 40 million pounds annually.
That's wonderful. Thank you for sharing, Mario. Now, Swistex's strategic partnership with Frontier has empowered them with cutting-edge virtual material solutions to meet the requirements of one of their largest clients, Under Armour. So Mario, could you please share with us the vision of Swisstex in the realm of sustainable textile production and how this aligns with the company's overall goals?
Environmentally friendly wet processing was the primary goal when Swisstex California was founded in 1996. Every aspect of our production is scrutinized in order to minimize water consumption, which leads to reduction of dye and chemical usage, as well as low energy consumption. Over the years, we continued looking for innovation, which allowed us to improve those areas. Being located in Southern California with all the restrictions in regards to pollution, air quality, wastewater, had a huge impact in our overall efficiency.
Wonderful. And what would you say some of the innovative products that Swisstex is currently developing are, and how do they contribute to a more sustainable industry?
80% of polyester production we produce here is mechanically recycled polyester. We're now developing options for chemically recycled circular polyester solutions, odor control as an alternative to antimicrobials for environmental issues. Zinc and silver are being phased out. Cooling technologies, fiber shedding. Swisstex currently implementing test methods to accrue data to establish baseline for it.
Fantastic, thank you. Okay, let's look at some of the traditional sourcing challenges. So here we have some of the critical challenges faced by traditional sourcing methods in the textile industry. So we've got prolonged timelines causing production delays, wasteful packaging consuming resources, and of course carbon emissions from the sample shipping, which is obviously harming the environment. So these issues really underscore the necessity for companies like Frontier to provide innovative, sustainable solutions that really streamline the sourcing process, reducing that waste and minimizing that environmental impact. So digital platforms can transform these traditional practices, making the case for tech-driven, eco-conscious approaches in the textile sector. Mario, we're keen to hear about any challenges that Swisstex encountered on the road to implementing sustainable practices, and what you did to overcome those challenges.
Basically, there is limited alignment among brands for sustainability and environmental goals and objectives. Brands are creating their own goals and test standards. For example, in some cases, blue sign is accepted, while in others, it's only Oeko-Tex. It's a challenge for the fabric manufacturer to comply to each of the brand's specific set of rules. The only way for the fabric manufacturer to cope with this is to allocate additional resources, which is costly. So with system...
Sorry, Mario.
That's fine. I'm going to the next one anyway.
Okay, so for the next one, could you let us know about the digitization journey of Swisstex and how partnering with Frontier helped you to meet these sustainability objectives, in particular with Under Armour?
In 2022, we've been asked to provide digital data for our fabric qualities we are submitting to the brand. Initially, we thought we have to buy software, equipment, and we assigned a person to handle this. On a visit with the brand, I realized that we're going wrong about all this. There is specialized software and hardware required to create the files required by the brand. Based on a suggestion by Under Armour, I reached out to Frontier. I sent the fabric qualities to Frontier, we received the files, sent them to Under Armour, and we had our first style digitized. It's very simple, efficient, and thanks to the experts at Frontier, was very simple.
Fantastic. I'd like to hand over to James now, if I may, to talk through the process and the technological aspects of Frontier. James?
Yeah, and what what Mario was describing is typically known as DaaS, right? And you're probably wondering, well, what is DaaS? So digitization as a service is really a process that companies today use to transform a physical fabric sample really into a precise digital format, right? And these digital formats then in turn allow designers like myself to create realistic digital products in 3D software like Browseware, like Clo, and a few others, right? Frontier offers this service, okay, to its clients, and that really enables them to create high fidelity digital textures, allows them to ensure virtual representation that meet the high standards of the physical counterparts. I mean, that's what we're trying to do, right? We've got to be able to create a realistic fabric. And the service includes the generation of the comprehensive texture maps, the replication of the fabric physical properties. And that really allows you to integrate this seamlessly into your process. And then, like I said, into the design software. Here's the thing, that creates a very agile, sustainable, and innovative future. The problem is, it takes a lot of time. DaaS typically takes anywhere from 60 to 90 minutes on average. And simply put, that's just not scalable. That's why Frontier created Textile Cloud. That is the answer to the traditional DaaS service. Essentially, it is a platform built to democratize fabric digitization for brands and suppliers of all sizes. And this is important. It is a platform that really seamlessly bridges that gap between the physical and the digital counterparts. And in essence, it's going to save you a lot of time, it's going to save you a lot of money, and it's going to reduce the environmental impact. And that's really what we're all trying to do here. How it works. Essentially, what we've done is we've used a proprietary algorithm to create an at-home or at-office scanning solution. And with the scanning solution, It actually enables you to create the digital assets and the physical properties in 3 to 5 minutes. And on top of that, these fabrics in the same platform can be curated into extensive libraries. These can be public libraries, these can be private libraries. It allows you to manage your materials all in one place. Once again, that fosters a very sustainable ecosystem, and more importantly, it connects brands with suppliers on the same platform. So really, this innovation is all about streamlining not only the digitization process, but the sourcing process as well. Makes it very accessible without the need of the special hardware that Mario was referencing before. It's easy to onboard, and it's an easy to use solution for all users on both ends. And as mentioned, and this is worth noting again, it's a proprietary AI. We actually created this alongside of MIT. And the reason why we did this is we wanted to really drive the digitization process forward into the future, right? We took the traditional that wasn't scalable. We created the 3 to 5 minute process that was scalable, because it needs to give the power back to the user, right? And when I say power, I'm talking about time, I'm talking about money, and I'm talking about less waste. So the AI technology generates, as you can see, the digital maps, right? It also creates the physical properties. Now, if you've ever gone through like a Clo kit or a physical V-stitcher, and you're doing all the measuring and to get the calculations of the physical properties, that's what takes so long. You don't have to do any of that. Plop it on the scanner, send it through the platform, 3 to 5 minutes, you have this. And what are you using that for? We're using that for 3D design. We're using that for online showrooms. You can embed libraries onto e-commerce. And then you can even use this for product lifecycle management to push directly into the system. Now, the textile cloud solution is really revolutionizing the way that the industry also shares and collaborates. With just a few clicks, users can take these collections that they've created inside of Textile Cloud. They could share them with internal teams and external partners, and that's going to streamline the design process. It's going to foster efficient collaboration. It's going to make everyone's lives easier. And this capability really opens the doors for mills to showcase their fabrics to a wider audience, right? This is a potential sales booster. So if you are a mill and you're kind of contemplating whether or not this works for you, to be able to offer, and I'm going to explain how this works from a designer standpoint as well, to be able to offer as a mill, not only the fabrics that you have in inventory or that you are displaying for a new season, but to offer the digital maps with that to a designer like me. What does that mean? I'm going to take these digital maps, I'm going to put them into Clo, and I'm going to say, wow, Swisstex or whomever that might be has this fabric. This is exactly what I envisioned and what we need. Through the platform, I can go back to Swisstex, go back to that mill, and I have that collaborative opportunity to communicate with the mill and actually order that fabric. That's why I said it's very innovative in terms of collaboration and sourcing. Really bridges the gap that today would mean I would typically have to order those fabrics in advance, not knowing whether or not they are perfect. That's going to waste time. That's going to waste money. It's going to waste resources. We don't want to do that, right? We want to speed this process up. So it's really a game changer for increasing accessibility, for increasing speed, and the decision-making process. As we know, this is a very fast-paced world. So with that, I'm going to hand it back over to Alexis. She's going to talk about some of the benefits that provides.
Sure. So the financial cost benefits for fabric digitization in the textile industry are multifaceted. So by transitioning to digital fabric samples as opposed to the physical ones, companies can really reduce costs associated with producing and shipping these physical samples, such as the materials themselves, labor costs, and also courier expenses. You know, flights aren't cheap. Additionally, these digital samples can be distributed instantly worldwide, reducing the time and costs involved in global collaborations. Obviously, when COVID hit, we all had to change how we were working. You know, Zoom became the new normal for communicating, and I can't imagine this trend is ever going to go away. So now people can collaborate worldwide. There are no geographical restrictions anymore. So this efficiency not only cuts overheads, but can also speed up the decision-making process, really, leading to a quicker sales cycle, reduced time to market for new fashion lines. Digitization, it also minimizes that waste, contributing to cost savings related to sustainability efforts, and potentially reducing environmental tax burdens and penalties as well. So if we look at these certificates, so we briefly touched upon these sustainability certificates right at the beginning. So sustainability certifications driven by this demand for eco-friendly and ethically made products are vital. They really prove that items meet stringent environmental and social standards, pushing brands and companies towards greener practices such as reducing water and chemical use and minimizing the waste, thereby shrinking their environmental impact. In a competitive market such as ours, these certifications really help brands to stand out because they can showcase their sustainability efforts, attracting consumers who are willing to pay a premium. They also promote supply chain transparency, ensuring ethical labor and environmental care, again, enhancing consumer trust. And moreover, as global environmental regulations tighten, I'm thinking CBAM, top of my head, these certifications aid brands in meeting legal requirements as well, reducing risks and associated fines. Adopting sustainable practices ensures resource availability, protecting brands from price volatility and really fostering long-term stability. Mario, whilst we're talking about this, could you let us know a bit more about these certificates and what they mean to you, please?
Sure. So some of these they're all related. Basically, it's all for sustainability. Higg Index, for example. Higg Index is a assessment verification tool for the textile industry, being part of the Sustainable Apparel Coalition. It's basically we're reporting water consumption, we're reporting what air we're putting out, we're reporting, and with Higg Index we are having a verified tool where we can tell the brand we are Higg Index verified, so our data is verified, they're real. Blue Science System Partner is a supply chain resource for chemicals and dyes, also for sustainable manufacturing. AAPM is a network of manufacturing in the Western Hemisphere. CDHC is wastewater, basically the water going out of the dye house with all its whatever we're putting out is being tested and measured and checked. So CDHC reports to the brand, and Swisstex wastewater contains this and that. So there's all limitations on certain metals and certain things which we cannot put out into the environment anymore. And this is pretty much the ones which are for sustainability in this list right here. And there is more and more of these things coming.
And here we have the results. So could you, Mario, explain a little bit more about the certificate that Frontier helped Swisstex to achieve from Under Armour?
Sure. The certificate basically states that any fabrication developed by Swisstex can be digitized, and the brand will be able to use the supply data for their specialized software, just as browseware, basically. So we develop a fabric, we digitize it, and send them the data, and they can use it.
Fantastic.
Very simple.
Thank you so much, Mario. As we come to the end of the presentation, I'd like to thank everyone for their time today. We've got some contact details here. So if anyone wants to get in touch with Frontier or with Mario at Swisstex, we can scan the QR code there. We've got some email addresses, website, social media details. If you want to jump on a demo with us, feel free, so you can really see how this technology works in real time. So are we going to open up for questions, James? Q&A?
Yeah, we did have some questions that rolled through, so I think we should definitely
All right, let me
do that.
just
Do you
see.
want to read them off? And I mean, I can, if you
Ye-
want, I can answer them, or
Yeah, sure. Okay, James. Right, let me just get the Q&A part. Oh, lovely. Okay, right. We've got some questions here. So, what are some of the key features of the platform that bridges between the physical swatches and the digital solutions?
well, that's what I described earlier, right? That is the AI that you actually use within the platform that's really going to bridge the gap. It's going to make them one in essence. So I could scan a fabric on my scanner. I can take that fabric, drop it into the Frontier textile cloud platform. And in the platform, I can actually tile it. Once it's tiled, click the button, and literally in 3 to 5 minutes, I have my my digital maps and I have my physical properties. So that's the quickest way that you're bridging. The other bridge really is what I talked about before. I mean, there are libraries like, so when I land in the platform, first thing I see is a sourcing library. The sourcing library contains fabrics that mills have added that they want to make public. You don't have to make everything public. You might just want to manage fabrics in a private library, which is completely fine. But if they've made it public, they've done so with the idea and the intent to bridge the gap between them and designers, right? But what they're essentially doing is they're also bridging that gap to the question, whoever asked the question, between the physical swatches and the digital counterparts, because the mill owns the physical swatches, right? The designer's using the digital counterparts in the 3D software to recreate that garment, right? And so it becomes a bridge. So those are just a few ways. Hope that answered the question.
Thanks, James. We've got another one here. How easy is it to connect with mills and suppliers for brands? Is it like email or messenger or what?
Yeah, there's an in-platform solution that enables you to message back and forth. So it's kind of like Messenger, but you're doing it. The interesting thing about you're doing it at the fabric level, right? So you've got a fabric swatch that we're talking about. So I can have a conversation about that material at the material. So that's one place. We have also got something called Threadboard, which is really our AI sales sync. So I take all those fabrics, drop them into one board, almost like Trello, right? Think of like your swim lanes in Trello. And I can manage the life cycle of those fabrics through procurement, all the while communicating at the fabric level, once again with the mills. So I hope that answered that.
Super helpful. We've got one about uploading the fabrics here. So I'm just trying to word this question. So how can we upload the fabrics to the online library using a scanner?
Well, you scan and you send it to your computer, right? I mean, you could, but well, there's two ways. You can email it to the cloud. So Textile Cloud offers every user an email address that you would use for your scanner. So if you've ever scanned something before, you know you have the opportunity to actually email it somewhere. So you would put that email in, you could email it directly to the cloud if you wanted, or you can do what most people do and, we'll scan, things go to your computer. I can drag and drop that right into the system, right? So it's a drag and drop route, or it's the email to the cloud route. So I'm pretty sure that answered what was asked there.
Yeah, I think so, James. I've got one here about sustainability. How can we see sustainability awareness?
How can we see the awareness?
I think maybe how does it show sustainability? Maybe the
Well,
sustainable information.
I touched on this before. Not enough brands are aligned, first of all, on what that even means, on what the standards are, like all of it, right? So, using Frontier is a example of creating recycled fabrics is an example of adhering to standards. Once we can all agree on what those are, is an example of the awareness is happening all around us. I go look outside and see what the temperature is today compared to 10 years ago. That's all the awareness that we need. But the consumers are really driving this forward, because what they're saying is we're no longer going to support just anyone because of a label or a logo. We really want to support purpose, right? And we want to support brands that want to see and create an impact that we can then see, right? That we're aware of. So that was a difficult question. I kind of went on a tangent, and hopefully that answered that.
James, it might be worth mentioning as well, we're talking about this sustainability improving stuff. It might be worth mentioning that every single fabric that's uploaded and digitized via the platform, you can actually see all the sustainability information in the screen, like the water usage, the land use even, and
Eco
the
impactor. That's right.
Yeah, CO2 emissions. So I think this is cool for people that want to make the best decisions right at the beginning of the process, rather than it being like an afterthought. They can choose the fabrics that they want right at the beginning. They can compare fabrics, which ones had less of an impact on the environment. So I think it's cool for making these better informed decisions right at the beginning, instead of planting a few trees on the other side of the world to try and make up for some damage that you've done to the environment. I think it's important for that sort of side of things, for the decision making. What do you reckon?
I agree. I'm glad you brought that up. We should probably do a whole webinar on the eco impactor itself.
I think we should. Yeah, that'd be really interesting.
Great idea. Okay, so I think we just kind of got some thought for the next one.
Have we got time for one more, James? Another one's just come through. About security and privacy. How are my digital assets stored in these libraries?
Yeah, that I was mentioning that before. Everything is safe and secure in your private libraries. You don't have to make them public. That's a thing that people keep, they see libraries and they hear sourcing and oh, is all my stuff going to be visible? Not unless you make it public. That's really up to the user. And then the admin over everything controls even what the users can do. So if the admin is like, nope, not sharing anything, there's the ability to kind of take care of that from day one, from the jump or at any time. But yeah, essentially, you're in control of the visibility, really of all of your materials, of all of your assets, of all of your data and IP.
Yeah, that's really interesting. A bit like YouTube, isn't it? When you upload a video, you can have it unlisted, you can have it, shared with everybody. I think that is important for a lot of people, especially when it comes down to like IP and stuff like that. People want to make sure that they're uploading something. They don't want everyone to see the certifications associated with a fabric, or they might not want people to see the construction, etc. So that's really interesting. Yeah. Cheers, James. All right.
This was awesome. Is there anything else, or I just wanted to thank you, Alexis and Mario, both personally. I thought.
Thank you. Pleasure being here.
Yeah, it was a pleasure.
Likewise. Enjoyed it.
All right, Alexis, I think we can close.
Okay, wonderful. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, everybody.
Take care.
Bye-bye.